Welcome to the Church of Thomas. These are readings from Awakenings in an Age of Angels. This chapter is called Wild Horses. There was a herd of wild mustangs on the plain. It was a rowdy herd. It was in constant motion. There was no leader. All the horses jostled and kicked to try to determine which one would lead the herd. One day a woman joined them. It was hard for her because though she loved the excitement and stimulation of constant motion, she often went hungry. She would start to dig a root to eat, only to have to stop. She would then have to chase after the herd. She was starving and not getting her needs met. She finally decided to take control over the herd. It had many young bully stallions, but no real leader. Each had a different agenda, destination, and opinions. Each felt that his needs were most important. As a result of this lack of focus and leadership, many mares and babies lost weight and condition. They moved so often and in such erratic directions, no area's grazing was ever fully tapped. The herd had been so beautiful with a leader. The stallion had died in a terrible accident. None of the young males had been taught enough manners to know what to do for the good of all the members of the herd. At first it had been fun. Now the lack of leadership was frantic, as if by just doing more they could reach the goal, any goal. The woman picked the strongest stallion and mounted him. He was hungry, and it added to her determination. The woman did not tell the stallion her whole plan, otherwise it was doomed to fail. She told him that with her help, she would aid him in becoming a new leader. He wholeheartedly agreed. He was not the biggest, but he was very fond of eating. All this frantic motion irritated him, at least more than the other big guys. The woman had braided a whip of grass that was very long. She chose her moment carefully. She waited until they seemed to be ready to break loose again. She flicked the tip of her whip toward the two stallions that jostled, trying to decide which direction to go that day. The whip bit their hides like horseflies. Startled, they looked around just as the woman kicked her chosen stallion. The herd moved with him, having won the toss of leadership just from being first. Every time they stopped to eat, the stallion chose the best pasture because he liked his food. The mares were pleased. Knowing the bickering pattern, she stayed mounted, watching, waiting for the fussing to presage a new fight. The woman warned a stallion she had mounted that her kick might come at any time. Another flick of the whip bit hide, again with the startled bickerers looking for someone to kick. The woman led the herd out. Again they were led out to fresh area. The big stallion was gaining status. He got more to eat each day, certainly more than the other stallions. The woman was pleased too. She was able to dig a few roots once she got the knack. Eating on horseback was easier than trying to eat while choking while running to catch up. Before long, she was moving the stallion out without the whip. Everyone ate more. She cautiously moved to the next stage. She picked a different stallion. Again, not the most ambitious, but his favorite thing was dust baths. This was important because every horse was showing signs of mites and skin parasites. Unfortunately, he alone was unable to turn the herd to his pursuit. The woman again worked her whip, but this time it was her new chosen she took the lead with. He and the herd got a good dusting, much to the joy of her new stallion. It was a bad pasture area, however, having been trampled by many other species. The stallion did not fight to lead when the woman switched to a new stallion again. The stallions she did not choose were getting irritated. When the herd was running, the angry ones tried to cut out mares. They wanted to force the mares to follow them. They had waited until the herd was in motion to make their power grab. The few mares were preferable to none. They did not know that the woman guessed their intentions. The tip of the whip bit at just the right moment on tender noses and flanks to turn the mares back. The stallions had to scramble to get back into the running herd. It would be bad to be left behind. Now she picked the 2 stallions from the beginning. She made them cooperate. She explained that she needed a lot more height to help the herd. They had learned to trust her. Instead of normal rivalry, they allowed her to lead. Neither was very ambitious, but their desires were complementary in addition to being good for the body of the herd. Now she stood on the 2 stallions. She stood with 1 foot on each horse. From the new vantage point, she could call and deter any horse in the herd. From her vantage point, she could avoid predators and sight grass fires before they were anywhere near the herd, threatening it. Her control was very steady. The herd was dynamic but focused. They ate and drank regularly with timely dust baths, of course. She used her voice now. She never used the whip again. In the ending of the season, the herd was into a routine of discipline. Every horse was healthy, sleek, and filled out for the long winter. The 2 wildling stallions who caused the most trouble moved to a bachelor herd, being too frustrated to stay. This was the right move for them, and if the need arose, they were in reserve if the 2 big guys were killed. When the time came to breed the next generation, she turned the herd loose. She was pleased to see them do the rowdy work they were born for, and when all the mares and stallions were settled down again, she called, and they came.